Breaking news, Donald Trump says the US will retaliate after Iran shot down one of its military helicopters.
Very concerning developments this morning. The big questions are, was this intentional from Iran, and what exactly will be the United States response? We know it was an Iranian drone that brought down this US military helicopter, and we know that the US President Donald Trump seems to believe it was a targeted attack. He posted this on social media this morning. He wrote in a message on Truth Social that the Iranians shot down one of our highly sophisticated Apache helicopters. The United States must of necessity respond to this attack. It was only yesterday he was saying that the United States was just days away from signing a powerful agreement that would end this war with Iran. He doesn't want any more military action. He wants it resolved through diplomatic means, but maybe now, Carl, he's not going to have a choice. What is clear this morning, the Middle East is back on the brink.
Breaking news, Donald Trump says the US will retaliate.
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Alright, breaking news. Okay, US helicopter shot down. Okay, the spirit of Egypt is failing, and this will be the title of this video. Okay, basically, as you see in a little shorts, TikTok, a news report. Okay, basically yesterday on the 8th. Okay, this US helicopter been shot down. It's Apache US helicopter been shot down by Iran military. You know, basically they saying a drone. Okay. And you know, we looking at this on prophecy. Okay, as I say again in the title, the spirit of Egypt is feeling the confidence. You know, is feeling Trump. You know, attempts with peace is feeling, because the reign is going down. Okay, this war is not gonna stop. You know, it's not gonna end. You know, Esau is not gonna come out on top. The earth is going through a shifting. You know, in power, in reign. You know, in dominance, you know, these times, these signs, what we're seeing real stuff, you know, earthquakes in the Philippines and whatnot. Okay, it's ramping up to, you know, to the return of our Lord and Savior Yahushai. Okay, and you know, this war is really ramping up to world war, the third war. Okay, in Revelation 11 verse 14. Okay, and that's it. Okay, this war, you know, all wars are leading to the final war, to end all wars, and that's when Yahushua gonna come back, the Prince of Peace. Okay, and you know, this devil's reign, Esau Edom's reign, is over. You know, so you know, Trump influence on America. Okay, his confidence, his boost. You know, nothing has changed for like it's been months in this war. Okay, it's been months in this war from since February 28th. Okay, and nothing has changed. Okay, you know, all he's saying with peace negotiations, you know, different things, stop shooting. You know, he caused the war. You know, you know, the hammer, the earth is losing its shine. You know, it's pounding power. Okay, the revised Roman Empire. Alright, it's because the law is a shift. What's happening? Esau Edom is the end of the world. Okay, they cause this war and is leading to you know, this event, the third war. Okay, and you know, reason why it's not in full effect is because other prophecies have to come on, such as the MOTB, the beast system. Okay, and this is what we see in the world at. Alright, so okay, I have this picture here. As you can see, this is what the world is coming to, the end of the world. Okay, as you see here, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, that is 2 Ezra 6 verse 7. As you see, these are the two sides of the world what's going to be destroyed. America going to be turning that lake of fire. Okay, this is going to be the result of America. and over there in the Middle East, so-called Middle East, all right, with Israel and whatnot, okay, they're gonna be destroyed. But once Yahushua returns, our land is going to be rebuilt, okay, under that new government, that new, rulership. Okay, America is gonna stay in that wasteland. So this is prophecy. Okay. First I want to start off with this precept. This is Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 1. Okay, a message to Egypt. Now the Egypt here is the modern day Egypt. Okay, America, Babylon the Great, also known as Babylon, and the scriptures also known as Assyria. Okay, and this is it. This is what the world advancing to the coming of Yahushua. Okay, this is Isaiah 19 verse 1. It says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud. Okay, that swift chariot we're going to be riding in the atmosphere. The massive, chariot, this massive vessel. Okay, in the last days, in the day of the Lord, what is going to be seen in the sky. Okay, that swift cloud. It says, and shall come into Egypt. Okay, America. Okay, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst thereof. Okay, as the NLT say, the Lord is advancing against Egypt, and this is what it's advancing to. It's coming to. Okay, the idols of Egypt is going to be removed at the Lord's presence. Okay, all these false gods, and ultimately that beast system. Okay, they when the belly is full, they're gonna be put in straits. Okay, the heart is gonna melt. Okay, them ICBM nuclear, them ICBMs, them nuclear missiles. Okay, that nuclear destruction. The elements gonna melt with fervent heat. This is what we're looking forward to, the saints. This is the faith and the patience of the saints. Only now dealing with the elect, right? Jumping down to verse 3, it says, the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. It's failing. It's being destroyed. Trump's confidence, as you've been seeing, his great military power and whatnot. Okay, taking over Iran. He started this war and he can't finish it. He can't, end it. Okay, and basically the power is getting out of their hand. In Revelation 6, and I believe verse 4. Talking about that red horse with the sword, big sword. It's failing. Okay, his influence is failing. Egypt influence. The Americans not falling for it anymore. Okay, because the economy is crashing. Okay, it's collapsing every day. Okay, and that's what it is. All right. So it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. Okay, their wisdom. And they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Okay, so total destruction and total, confusion. They don't know what to do. Okay, because the Lord is doing this, is doing so. Okay, the power is coming down. All right, and we know at the end of the day they're looking to bring this system online. Okay, the last attempt of power, on the earth. Okay, Esau, Edom's power. All right, but they're losing it. Okay, as I go down to say to, verse 4, the cruel Lord, he ain't doing a well job. Okay, he causing the destruction of this place of America. All right, so like of America, Babylon the Great. Okay, and this is prophecy. This is our hope. Okay, that's what it is. All right, so this is Isaiah 47 and verses 1. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Okay, sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. You know, they had power, they had influence. You know, it was untouchable. And now, you know, they're being shamed. Okay? America's military might be shamed. You know, Trump boasts that he take out Iran's military, the air force, but yet they shoot down this helicopter. Okay? It says, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Verse 2, it says, take the millstones and grind meal, uncover the locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thighs, pass over the rivers. Okay, they being exposed, you know, the might is being weakened. You know, the earth, the heathen, the nations are seeing, you know, her as weak. Okay, verse 3, it says, the nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. And this is the coming of the day of the Lord, Yahushai, coming back as a power, as a God. Okay, this is what it is. You know, vengeance is taking place. Okay, for the wickedness Esau Edom has reigned on the earth. Alright. This is Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 23. Alright, it says, how is the hammer of the Slakia? Verse 23, it says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Okay, the hammer losing its grip, you know, its power. Alright, it says, how is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? You know, the power ain't looking too well. Okay, the spirit of Egypt is failing. Alright, you know, the military might, you know, they're being put to shame. Alright, verse 24 says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O daughter, Salakia, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. You know, this war what they have with Iran, you know, being that snare, being that catalyst, you know, for the third war. Okay, it's rampant for this war. Okay, and they wasn't aware. They thought they was the best, the hammer of the earth. Okay, you know, now you know the pride being shamed. Alright, it says, thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. Okay, and this is what it is. The Lord is seeking vengeance. Alright, so this is what this war advancing to. Okay, the third war, Revelation 11 and verse 14. Okay, the second war is past. Already second world war, and behold, the third war cometh quickly. Okay, the third destruction, the third war. Okay, world war. Alright, with all these nations basically battling America, is coming. Armageddon. The Lord is hastening the troops. Okay, mounting our troops to that day, you know, and that's when the Lord is gonna come and basically rule righteousness on the earth. Okay, Yahushai. Okay, and this is our hope, and this is what prophecy, this is what, you know, prophecy, this is what the world is going according to, what happening. Okay, is the prophetic interpretation of the scriptures, you know, happening. Okay, alright, let's read this. This is 2 Ezra 16 and verse 7, I'll read at 18 at the point. Okay, the beginning of sorrows, which is happening on the earth, and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars. This is the beginning, you know, of ramp up, advance to World War III. Alright, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Okay, and our hope, our faith, you know, our godliness, our holy conversation, you know, is that, you know, we be saved, we have salvation, because we're gonna go through the persecution what coming on the earth, you know. In lower this chapter, you know, these destructions coming upon those who fear the Lord, roughly paraphrasing. Okay, but Lord's willing, we be saved out of it. Okay, and this is why the times are speeding up. Even because of the effect of prophecy, it's speeding up. Okay, and we making haste. We doing these videos. Going out in the highways and byways and whatnot. All right. Okay. So this is Luke chapter 21 and verse 25. Okay, the return of a Mashiach, day of the Lord. Basically this is when Yahushua was talking to his disciples about the coming prophecies, was to take place on the earth. The end of the last reign. We had the toes of the statue, okay, in Daniel's dream. Okay, so this is Luke 21 verse 25. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon. Okay, these things are happening, and in the stars and upon the earth. Okay, distress of nations. Okay, and perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Okay, the earth is in a position of difficulty. Okay, the sea and the waves roaring. Distress, confusion, destruction. Effects are happening. The earth is going through labor pains. Let's go in that word perplexed, right? This is what America is in. All right.
Strong's G 640. Aparia.
The state of one who is in perplexity. Okay, when you go in the root word, okay, it says to be without resources, to be in straits, to be left wanting, to be embarrassed. They are embarrassed. The spirit of Egypt is failing. The earth is seeing this whole, okay, as weak. All right, to be in doubt, not to know what way to turn, and that the council is being destroyed, as we read in Isaiah 19. Trump, they don't know what way to turn. Okay, they're doing a retaliation, but at the end of the day, is prophecy taking place. The vision is taking place. To the coming of the Lord. All right. Okay, and this is our hope. This is our faith. So the spirit of Egypt is feeling.
After Iran shot.
All right. So I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the elect. Shalom.